In the town where I was born lived a man who sailed the seas. His name was Monkey D. Luffy. He was the king of the pirates. Ya-yo. Hello, and welcome to an anime podcast where we talk about One Piece every once in a while.
I'm Tristan.
I'm Miles.
I'm Geoff.
And this is Quest for the Best, and today we have a special guest for all of you. His name, Steve. His other name, Yurko. He is a wonderful professional storyboardist, artist, and wonderful man of many different talents. Steve, thank you so much for joining Quest for the Best.
Thank you very much. And I should note, I'm like, wow, it only took 5 seconds for a 4Kids reference. It's like time is a flat circle.
Why is that, for the audience at home, why is that a poignant thing for you, Steve?
Many reasons. Other than the fact that I lived through the 4Kids era of One Piece, I am also a co-host on a podcast I do with a former employee there, Tara Sands. It's called 4Kids Flashback. So if you're like a millennial like anime fan that remembers that era and wants to hear from the people that work there and hear some interesting stories, I'd give that show a listen. If you were setting me up for a plug there, that's what I was going
a little
for.
bit. Yeah, but it's an extremely good
okay.
podcast, I have to say.
Thank you.
I do.
Tara's great.
Want to back it up? Yeah, Tara's fantastic. You're not too bad yourself. And today we're going to be talking about One Piece Movie 6 with you. We're doing this little Hosoda thing. I wasn't here if you guys introduced it well last week. You probably did.
We didn't really like set it up that well.
No, we didn't set it up as a thing like that. It was more of a, hey, we're going to be talking about Digimon this week.
Bit of a ship without a whip staff, which is actually a One Piece reference. If you're caught up with the live action, are you caught up with the live action, Miles?
I will be in about a week or two.
That's a shame because it's top tier.
It's 8 hours of content, dude.
Well, you could have watched the Laboon episode and then you'd get the joke.
Okay. Well, I need to watch the Laboon episode. And I'm sorry.
You'll cry. I cried. Steve, did you cry?
No.
Wow.
I did cry watching another episode. I'm sure,
but you didn't cry at the. Okay. Well, we can discuss that another day.
That's the thing. I'm like, I don't know what you could be talking about. But,
Yeah.
No, I'll give the show credit. They got some tears out of me.
I mean, I cried during the in memoriam section of the Oscars, which is also why, for the haters in the comments, the fact that I didn't cry at the end of Cyberpunk anime says something to y'all, okay? Okay? It's a really good anime. I really liked it. It's on the list. Chill in the comments. I liked it a lot. I just didn't cry, okay? Sorry. Anyway, today we're going to be...
You can tell when this was recorded now.
Today we're going to be talking about One Piece season 6, movie 6.
Season 1. This is still within season 1 of One Piece.
That's right. The One Piece season 1 spinoff.
Yes.
But first, we've got a little side quest, and our side quest today is Steve. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Miles, Geoff, Tristan. What's up?
This is a thing that we normally do when we bring guests on, where we're just like, hey, who are you? What's your story with the animes? And why are you here? Besides the fact that we like you, you're really cool, and it's great to have you.
Oh, that answers that question. I was going to say, I'm like, you're going to have to ask Miles there, because I remember getting a DM like late at night. Well, it was a completely different time zone. I was still in Tokyo at the time, but I got the call to action and gladly accepted. Who am I? What do I do? Well, I guess I could say I'm a professional working artist. I work in TV animation here in the US of A. I'm a storyboard artist. I currently work on Rick and Morty. I've been with that show for, I think, 5 or 6 seasons now. So
good.
And
wow.
Thankful to have a job in animation in the year 2026. Let me knock on wood. I'll do that later. But in terms of anime, I've just been an anime fan for a very long time. I was always watching cartoons when I moved in our cable deal and we had Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon. It was just game changing for me. as a kid. And I remember Cartoon Network had Speed Racer on like all the time. And I remember the thing about Speed Racer was you knew it was anime. Like before I even knew what anime was, you knew like, oh, this is from Japan and this is dubbed into English. So that was always my introduction to it. But then I would think, because I remember Toonami coming around and Voltron was on that too. But I truly think like Pokemon was like the beginning of like ushering me into like anime as like a, you know, as a fandom. But Dragon Ball Z kind of locking it in, like those two back to back within like, late 98 into 99. And then it just, and that was just like a golden age.
It's a very familiar
for anime.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'm pretty sure, you've heard this plenty of times before. It's not gonna be the last time you hear this, but
except these guys have not seen Speed Racer yet. And
what do you mean?
What do you mean?
Okay.
What do you mean I haven't seen Speed Racer?
I used to watch Speed Racer obsessively.
The cartoon.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
With my dad, I watched it daily when we got the Speed channel.
All right. So why don't you want to do a Speed Racer episode of Quest for the Best?
Because then I have to rewatch hundreds of episodes of it, and also my dad would not be down anymore.
There's only like 50 episodes. There's only like 50 episodes, and it's
doesn't like the Blu-ray still like $20?
And the one the dub is so good. It's like 5 people total on the entire dub doing all of the
Jeff,
voices.
We've spoken about this before. It's normally just a matter of it's a lot of watching time. I would much rather just do an episode on the Wachowski movie.
We could do that too. I just like I didn't, as a Canadian, I didn't get Speed Racer until
we totally did. I don't remember what channel it was on, but there was definitely during my childhood one of the channels that you'd go through when you have a sick day, you're just lying on the couch, you feel like garbage, you flip through channels, you're like, The Price is Right is on, great, cool, what else is here? And there was always a channel playing Speed Racer for me when I was growing up. It was always there.
Well, it wasn't on in Vancouver. I don't know what to tell you. So I got into it recently, and I was really appreciating the actual artistry of the storyboards. Like, it's got some really, really crazy creative layouts. The way the backgrounds like sort of melt around to create a 3D perspective.
But also, like,
Tatsunoko was ahead of their game.
Based on that, why would we talk about that when Lupin Part 1 exists?
Because it was like the flagship for Tatsunoko, one of the like pioneers of early anime.
I would say the opening song is better than Lupin Part 1.
And also that,
depending on which part of Lupin, but Speed Racer's opening
I would say Part 1. Part 1. I do not like that Part 1 opening.
Not like Fujiko Mine or the modern ones, but like definitely.
Or Part 3.
Yeah.
Part 3 is pretty good.
Yeah, Part 3,
and
pink one.
Oh, man. The English version of that theme song actually kind of rips with like the sort of like surfer vibe they got going to it. It's nice and chill.
Well, it used to be a country that like dubbed openings. It was that. Then for a while, nothing happened. And then Funimation was doing it. And now it's just gone.
Funimation also used to like try and differentiate themselves from Crunchyroll by like actually subtitling the openings every once in a while. And there's no one in the market who does that anymore, except for Amazon for some reason. And I think it's just because they don't realize they don't have the rights to do that. But
whoops.
Or maybe they do. And I'm just wrong because
I didn't realize that would be a whole other thing. I know like there's separate licensing that goes into, openings and endings, but
because it's you're technically subtitling the music.
Well, no, you're not. That's the thing. You are making a new artistic product, even just by subtitling it. Music translation is an entire business. And so you're basically undermining an entire industry of people who are localizing music. And because music is closer to poetry than it is to just like people talking, you want to make sure that translated text matches the artist's vision, and you usually need the artist to sign off on it. Which is why I suspect anyone who has the translation from episode 1 is just doing it, going under the radar. And then when like High Dive will occasionally like have translated openings like episode 5 or 6, I'm like, it only took them like 8 weeks to get that approved. That's pretty good.
That's really interesting. I like it makes sense, but man, that's one of those things that I feel I constantly see anime fans complaining about.
What, like lack of subtitles or
lack of subtitles on the openings as like one of the many justifications for the service issues that cause piracy. Like, oh, you're not even subtitling the openings. So lazy. I mean, people complain about everything on the internet.
They will find whatever they want to complain. And to a point, I agree, because I'd like to know what the opening says.
Me too, but
plenty of times it's related. I mean, sometimes it's just, hey, look at this popular J-pop song. Okay, whatever. But a lot of times it's pretty relevant to the series itself. If it's a banging opening that I listen to every time, some karaoke subs would not go.
Yeah, no, I want the karaoke. That's my main thing. That was like when I first started learning Japanese, like the karaoke on like Cromartie High School was one of the first ones I tried to do, which was stupid because that is such a fast and like complicated song.
I just wish that skill would translate over to like actually doing proper karaoke, but it never will, because if you go to a karaoke place and they have the opening song, they'll have the full version of the song, which is why I majorly screwed up last year when we went to karaoke and I was like, I'm going to do the opening for Sailor Moon. And then I was like, oh, no.
Just use the skip button. Just use the skip button. There's no shame in the skip.
Or if you're like me and Steve, you put on, I won't say you, me, it was my fault. You put on the completely wrong K-pop version of We Are and then sing We Are anyway.
I am not good at improv, but then again, I think I've like sang that song enough times where I was able to just completely change the pitch. And and the room just like was in awe of just like, I can't believe this is happening. That happened like another year too, where I was in a karaoke room in Tokyo, and then we got a call from like the front desk, ordering like drinks and stuff, and I was whispering the song. It was like, it's funny that you guys talk about it's like you go to karaoke and they play the full song and like, I'm screwed. Well, me, I was always seeking out the full versions of openings and endings, so like I would know them.
Well, I mean, I looked them up and I like to have them, but I never like tried to learn them to the point that I could sing them. So it's like I was able to stumble through the Sailor Moon one when we did it, but because I've heard it, I just didn't hear it so much, nor was I used to doing karaoke subs for it. Because any karaoke subs I had for the Sailor Moon opening was just TV size. That's it. I didn't have the full version sub. So I was just like, I think this is right. And I'm just going to go with it. I know how it goes, so I'm just going to use my limited amount of knowledge about how to pronounce some Japanese words, follow the whatever's on screen, and hope for the best. And it's
there's a certain era of anime openings that I can do it for, because like Code Geass, FMA, original FMA, Naruto. I downloaded just a big pack of anime openings, and like it was like 1,001 anime openings from LimeWire, and I had that on my PSP, and that was all the music I listened to in high school.
I didn't have that. When I was in high school, me and my friend, we had a rhythm game called Step Mania that people like. It was you use the keyboard for it. You don't. DDR, I mean, you could probably get a dance pad or what have you. But so many people, because it was like an open source sort of game thing, people just made their own tap or step tracks to virtually any anime song you would ever think of. So yeah, I had like a 2,000 song anime pack, and that is where I learned so many different openings. That's where because I was in high school and I was just getting into anime, that's when I was just like, this opening's really cool. I'm going to go watch that anime. Cut to a week later. That was a mistake. But
Step Mania and Oendan. Or Osu. No, Osu.
Osu.
No, Osu. Yeah. Osu is the open source version. But yeah, those were the days. I mean, people are still uploading note tracks to both of those, I'm sure.
Yes, very much so.
Very dedicated communities there.
You can see them in a corner at any anime con you go to. There's just ones leaning against the side of the wall, sitting down with their backpack on one side, and then they're just, going crazy on their tablet. It's great. Love anime con.
What a great culture.
I mean, Steve, I have, seen you at anime cons far longer than I've known you as a person, but like you've been like part of the anime fan community for quite some time now. What happened? How did that
start? You said what happened as if something happened. What happened? You disappeared.
How did this all begin?
I got old and I left Neverland, and I should have mentioned like one of the big reasons that I was asked to be on this is because I've been a co-host in the One Piece podcast for about like 17 years now. But in terms of like what got me into anime fandom, I was just, I don't think I really contributed anything big until the podcast. When I discovered what forums were as a kid, like that was my shit back in the day. I remember getting bullied out of an IGN chat room and then hopping into another. Someone's like, you ever hear of this like particular Dragon Ball website? And then the rest was just like history. I would just, any like thing I was interested in, if there was a forum and it was populated enough, I would try to like join it and hang out there. And just eventually, when I was starting to get into One Piece, someone recommended the Arlong Park, forums and the website, which has been mentioned on a previous episode. And then from there, that's how like eventually I got recommended to be on the podcast. I wasn't on from the very start, like Zach, but then I think around episode 13 was my first episode, and then there.
I was about to say, because like by the time like y'all were hosting Davey back fights at Anime Expo,
I was not at that Anime Expo. No, yeah, but then like kind of. Once kind of like a solid, dependable crew for that podcast was formed, we were really going to a bunch of conventions and just doing panels because there was no One Piece representation at the time. It was not. It was very niche.
Are you saying One Piece wasn't popular?
No, it was definitely not. It was overshadowed, and kind of we wanted to make sure there was representation there, and through that, also like we, met, you and a lot of other people in the industry, just having like a bunch of rotating guest interviews galore. And I think just that, I guess, is my claim to fame with anime, I guess, is just doing that podcast for a while. But, made AMVs back in my day and all that. But, if you had Windows Movie Maker, that didn't stop you. It should have stopped some people who just made them and just used GIFs. I was just like, nah, you don't do that.
Oh, I didn't do that. I didn't do that, but there were definitely some very old Movie Maker AMVs that I made when I first started, like in my first year of high school, that I'm just like, these will never see the light of day again.
We got to make that a membership bonus.
No. Because that means I'd have to dig them up from whatever sewer I dropped them into.
The thing is, I still have mine, but yeah, I kind of at this point, like I think I'd suffer way too much embarrassment showing those again. Though I don't think they're that bad. But
you're not going to put them on your personal portfolio website or anything like that?
Might as well. They won't get taken down. Jeez, at this point, you have like a breath of any like major release song on YouTube these days. It just gets taken down. So, but I would say like really, working with the podcast for so long and kind of helping spread awareness of One Piece all those years. I would say that's my contribution to anime. And the problem was I was such a mark for One Piece. Like I watched other anime and read other manga, but not as dedicated as I was to One Piece. And I think I was just getting anything I wanted out of a story was just all happening in One Piece. And now I'm doing my best to try and catch up and expand my horizons and watch more. But I basically what I'm saying was I liked One Piece before it was cool.
On that note, though, this is Quest for the Best. Up until recently with guests, we've been like, all right, what's your favorite anime? You can talk about that. We didn't give you a choice. So what are your favorite anime, Steve?
Besides One Piece. Because I will say One Piece, and I know it's not finished yet and all that, but it's had such a hold on me that I'm like, I could not say it.
Well, I mean, technically season 1's over. So that's right.
Yeah, I guess, what a not too many shows have that good of a first season, but One Piece is one of them. You know, they just knew what it was right from the jump.
Rookie effort. Yeah.
The first show that always comes to mind in terms of anime is Yu Yu Hakusho. That is one I absolutely love. Like, I liked it when it was on TV, and then kind of never finished it, never went back to it, and then all it took was a friend just giving me a DV, like an extra copy of like season 3 that he gave to someone I was dating at the time, and then they never bothered to, like, they just left it on a nightstand, never even opened it, and I just like pointed that out after like several weeks. I'm like, wow, that's still here, and he's like, you know what, here, you take it. And I went home, watched it all that weekend. I was like, oh wait, Yu Yu Hakusho kicks ass. I need to actually rewatch all this and actually finish it. And then it's become a lock for me ever since.
Like, I feel like until the current era of post Hiroaka seasonal adaptations of shonen, Yu Yu Hakusho blew basically every shonen battle series
for sure.
out there out of the water.
With exception to one, and it's understandable, and that's Hunter x Hunter, but that's because they were both written by the same damn guy.
But also the Hunter x Hunter show never finished, which was kind of a...
and the manga.
And like the second Hunter x Hunter show, I don't think is on the same level. Like, it's good. I've watched of it, it's a good adaptation, right? But
I disagree. I feel like 2011 is better than the OG.
I have to watch the OG, otherwise I'd take part in this argument. But I'll just say that, really, because I feel like you bring up Yu Yu Hakusho, someone's going to bring up Hunter x Hunter, and it took me a while before I kind of went and I was reading the series, and then I just switched to the anime because I wasn't a big fan of Togashi. Like explaining a card game by just having like a Google Doc for like 6 pages. I was like, nah, dude, this ain't it. This is not how you explain like an in-universe card game.
I mean, it is if you're Togashi, and like it rips in manga form, right?
It's not without its merit. It just
like I like my manga with the occasional just actual book in the middle of the manga. But hold
on, have you guys seen the Mark Phillips RDC World 1 video about Jujutsu Kaisen?
No.
Where the video pauses and it puts like 500 words of explanation about what the new ability is on the screen. It's the best.
That is fun. I mean, like, the thing is I feel like that's a much better parody of Hunter x Hunter. There's only really one time that a power gets explained like that in Jujutsu Kaisen, and it's the guy whose power is an entire pachinko game. Which there's this really great fan theory, actually, because the guy he's fighting with that is a 500-year-old sorcerer who reincarnated in somebody else's body. And there's this fan theory, because like the way that it works is like you're downloading the basic information directly into somebody's mind, right? And this 500-year-old sorcerer just had to have like the full cultural context for pachinko machines downloaded into his brain all at once to understand that baseline explanation.
So there's a metatextual reason for it within the world, and that
no, it actually it like,
works. Okay,
most of the time, like JJK is not nearly as wordy as Hunter x Hunter, but it is wordier than some things. But yeah, that video was fantastic.
The reason why I wanted to talk about Hunter x Hunter real quick is because I this conversation I think has gone away, but I used to like hear people at conventions tell me like, oh, Yu Yu Hakusho, they should remake that. And I would always say with full confidence, absolutely not.
Just go watch it. Just
do they need to? That's the thing. It's like if you're wanting to do a remake, you need to give me a good reason. So you look at Full Metal Alchemist, you're like, all right, it didn't end the way that the manga did. You want to do it? You want to give it its proper ending? Sure, fine, cool. Yu Yu Hakusho, it's done.
Want to remake One Piece?
Done. It's all there.
It's got pacing issues, right? The
sure. Or it's just way too many episodes.
Kind of drawn out. Yeah. You could pare that down to a seasonal approach. That makes sense. But like Yu Yu Hakusho, the only thing that I can think that I really want a Yu Yu Hakusho remake or whatever to do would be to like give us the few sort of like, if you've read the manga, there's a few early chapters of Yu Yu Hakusho where it's not really a battle series. It's kind of like a sad slice of life ghost story series where like Yusuke goes around and it like almost feels like a shoujo with like the tone. It's just like before Yusuke gets his body back, he's like going around and like helping out other ghosts, and there's not a lot of punching. Mostly it's just like, oh, the ghost of this dog is watching over the young boy, and it just like punches you right in the heart a couple times, and then you move on to another one of those. And there's like a solid 10 chapters of that they just kind of gloss over in the anime adaptation, and it makes sense because like the battle stuff is what people came for, but it's good content. Yeah, I would like to see it properly animated.
I mean, I have a good explanation for why they probably should remake it.
Mm-hmm.
It's older than the median anime fan.
Sure.
And no one watches anything from before 2010, let alone
Dragon Ball
before
Z?
they were born.
I get that. That's
They watch
fine.
Super
That's
more
great.
now.
If you do that, we're going to end up in this cylindrical cycle of everything's just going to get remade. And then, we reached the end. Now the remake is like 15, 18 years old. Better remake it again. It's what Hollywood's
Hold
been doing.
on, Tristan. I couldn't hear you over my Scrubs reboot, which is getting in the way of my...
That's a soft reboot.
Yeah, that's
more of a continuation, yeah. There was another one. Yeah, Malcolm in the Middle 2. Shippuden. Malcolm in the Middle Shippuden is coming out in 2 weeks.
I'm actually like kind of excited for that one. I don't know. Like I really just getting that cast back together is a good idea.
And
I don't know.
I have complicated feelings about the One Piece too, but in terms of a Yu Yu Hakusho, it's like it looks like such a 90s show. And they even probably was like 10 years ago at this point when they did those like OVAs, like those, like I think they're for like an anniversary for the Japanese Blu-ray, and just adapting those designs for like modern animation aesthetic. And I'm like, it's missing that. It's missing that too.
I like the 90s feel to it. It's one of the reasons why I didn't like Sailor Moon Crystal when it came out. And I absolutely loved that 30-year Evangelion video that Kara did up and put out recently, because it had new footage in the style of 90s Evangelion, 4x3 grain, whole shebang. And I'm like, when in video games, they go and they be like, hey, here's this pixel game. I want like an anime version of Octopath Traveler. I want someone to come along and be like, here's our new anime in like the early 90s to mid 90s aesthetic. Give me that. I want
It's called Clevitas.
That's not the right
I would
aesthetic,
say
Jeff, at all.
It is. It
I would say
absolutely
it's not.
is. Clevitas
That's not
is
90s aesthetic.
Clevitas is like 90s, like dark
I'm not talking
fantasy.
about narrative. I'm talking about visuals.
No, aesthetically.
No, it is not.
It absolutely
at all.
is. It is emulating the look of cell animation. We can have this separate conversation.
I will say, I'll give credit to Gundam Wing for the 30th anniversary. That opening they did looks so authentic. Like it looks
fantastic.
Like, this does look like this was animated in like 96 or something like that. So it can be done. It can be done.
Megalobox, another great.
I was
great
thinking of that
example.
show too. Yeah.
No, but Clevitas does something I really like. I guess it's a little later than the 90s, but what Clevitas does is during the flashbacks, they very specifically render the animation to look like an upscaled DVD. Like it's like pixelated, like it's being watched on a DVD just for the flashbacks. It's really interesting to look at.
I like stuff like that. I want to see more chances taken like that. Some bold choices.
But to bring it back to Yu Yu Hakusho, I just
Why
think
we're here
that's
today.
basically a perfect TV show. Yeah, when we do a Yu Yu Hakusho episode, Steve, you're coming on.
Thank you so much.
I really
almost thought that was gonna I don't know. I thought like, oh, like, is it gonna? When I saw Miles like was asking me, I'm like, oh, is it gonna be like my choice? Because I'm like, I guess I could talk about Yu Hakusho. It's actually done, but I would love to. I would love to
because like I think it is as close to perfect as shows from that era got. Right? Mm-hmm. It's just like 60-ish episodes and no filler, all killer, basically.
It has an ending, to say the least.
It has a substantially improved ending from the manga, actually, because like that was when Togashi was getting like the big back pain for the first time, and he just got it done, you know. And then they went back and they bleached 1,000-Year Blood Ward it a little bit less, you know, because it was still tying it up in like 4 or 5 episodes with like semi-anime original content. It's a little bit of a FMAO3 type approach, but you know, based on an actual finished ending instead of what they did. But like it is an improvement over the manga, I'll say. But yeah, good show. The kids today should just watch it. It does not need a remake.
Those are 2 different sentences, Geoff.
No, they're the same.
I don't believe just because something is old doesn't mean it needs a remake. But
yeah, exactly.
I didn't say it needs a remake. If you want to make new children watch it, then it requires a remake for financial purposes.
I could understand that argument, and Miles, I trust your word, I think, more than anybody's. But I guess like that's probably a reason why when like Lupin and Conan was on Adult Swim, it didn't take, because it just looked outdated.
I think we just need to open the schools and like maybe Clockwork Orange kids a little, but like
I was going to suggest maybe be off your phone a little bit more, but
that too. Was watching the Oscar ceremony, and my 6-year-old walks in the room and sees a little black and white segment that like, because Conan's doing the goof on Casablanca, he's like, "Daddy, why is it like this again?"
It's like hitting the TV.
Again was nice. But also I'm like, this is called art, son. This is art.
Okay, well, I mean, clearly, like that's on your parenting, man. My dad sat me down. He watched Abbott and Costello with me when I was a young kid, and now I'm like inoculated against this is old, and I just appreciate the artistry of classic
You
film.
Probably weren't 6 though.
No, I was literally 6. I was literally 6 watching Abbott and Costello.
6 was when I was watching the Three Stooges, so I guess that's right, actually.
Yeah. So just do that. Like if you're a parent at home, just sit your kid down, force them to watch Gundam, force them to watch a little bit of Speed Racer. I'm serious. I'm not even like, it's actually especially Speed Racer. That'll get them. They'll be like, yes, I love this stuff. You know, just kids today, they're so spoiled for choice. But if you're sitting down sick at home and like you've got a choice between the Bugs Bunny show reruns or Johnny Test, I think if you choose Johnny Test, you need to like be on a different.
You failed the test.
Track. I don't know. You failed the test.
Steve, any other anime you want to talk about?
Before we wrap up your section? I mean, that like Yu Hakusho is the one I'll just go to bat for sure. But you know, like Bebop, I gotta say, is just like up there. I'm gonna have the most basic like top 5, but like I love Dragon Ball Z. You know, warts and all. You know, like Dragon Ball Z is so influential to me as well, and it's not just. You know, it's the fights. It's just, you know, it's the Toriyama, it's the Kikuchi score and all that. But Baccano is another show that kind of came to mind for me.
Hell yeah.
Our number 1.
Yeah, it's still, I know, like when I saw Geoff,
it's still number 1.
You are telling us the current ranking, and God, that's like, that's a show that's just getting lost to time. And it's like, that's such an easy watch too. It's like more people should put the time in.
Yes.
Watch it. Like if you, especially if stuff like Bebop like interests you, then it's like, oh, Baccano is just like, you know, Prohibition Bebop, I guess.
And Baccano hasn't aged a day. It hasn't aged a day. You know, it still looks as good, except you know
the ending, the ending sequence, not the ending.
Oh yeah, because it's
Yeah. No,
that's
like
some like mid-aughts, like
CG.
cheapo deepo, like nonsense.
We need an ending and we need the credits to be put somewhere. Sure, go this. I mean, they spent so much more.
I think the ending credits are probably my least favorite part of the show anyway, so.
They spent so much more money in the OP. I mean, it had to balance out somewhere.
One of the all-time best openings, I would say, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it literally the first one I ever covered on my channel.
And I know manga maybe is like not necessarily part of the conversation here. But if it's just strictly
Not
anime,
generally, but it's good to know.
If it's strictly anime, it's why I can't say iShield 21 because that anime looks like Garbo, and but that manga, it's one of my all-time favorite mangas, and I actually have the full series. So I always get some real ones in like my comments. Sometimes they're like, "Oh shit, is that iShield 21?" And you have all of it. I think that's like it's what put Yusuke Murata on the map. It wasn't One Punch Man, at least not for me.
That anime though is just like the one of the worst victims of that era of anime production. Just like the oversaturation, the like cheap production values, and then it didn't get very far, and it just was not like it took these brilliant character designs and made them unflattering. One day I gotta sit through it, but I'd rather. I feel like I should watch it. Do you? Be like, this is crap, and then reread it and be like, oh yeah, this is the good stuff.
This is why.
I know there was an OVA too. They originally did something before the series came out, and that looked so much better.
Oh, I mean, you know, you want to like manga is a separate conversation, but like getting the kids to read manga is in some ways even harder than getting them to watch old anime. Like I've seen these conversations of kids being like, it's so hard to follow because they're used to webtoons, which is just literally just like scroll. One panel in a row. And it's like, it really is sad, the decline of media literacy. I'm not even using that term like meme.
Yeah. It's not like the like comics in that style don't have merit, but that is kind of crazy. It's like, oh, so the art of page layout is just getting lost now.
Yeah, like the kids aren't like getting primed on the like left to right, top to bottom, even the basics of it. They're like, I don't know what to read in what order because it like comes up like 2 or 3 text bubbles at a time max in one panel. And like, I like webtoons, right? Yeah. You can do some really cool stuff with that format, but like literally the kids can't, they can't deal with just a page that you have to like go through with your own eyeballs. It's
or a controller with a button on it, maybe. I don't know. Well, I was thinking more like a Game Boy. But I would have thought that manga was still kind of hitting it off because it's so accessible now. I'm amazed, at least like by me, when I go into a public library and I see what their manga selection is, I'm like, it's pretty good. This is pretty good for like a public library. So
librarians are trying to get kids to read, and kids will read manga, but they will read webtoon 10 times up more often. So
kids be on their phones.
That's kind of the challenge, which is like, it's just the more
it's a bit sad,
easy to consume format, and so that ease does something.
And I will,
unfortunately, I mean, I don't.
And I will say I don't own a tablet, so I read my digital manga on phone. It's hard. It's not always easy, especially. Yeah.
It's not great. Yeah, I mean, that's how I read most of mine, but I really
that's probably the reason why I would buy one.
Yeah.
That's why I own this thing now. It's just for reading. I read my manga, I read my comic books, I read my light novels, I read my actual novels. I do all of that.
I'm a little surprised you don't have a tablet though, Steve.
Absolutely,
like,
but I'm not like a sketchbook artist. Like takes me so long to finish a sketchbook. I'm like, if I got an iPad just to draw on it, that thing would collect dust, and I know it. So that's why I haven't committed.
So get it for manga and to occasionally draw a sketch on.
But then I'm already like, my job requires me to be in front of a computer already most of the day. There's no reason for me to buy a mini computer that can do less.
You're doing the Wacom stuff.
The
right?
day they put like a good storyboard program on iPad or or tablets, I go buy one. That's the thing. If that means I could do my work like away from home easier, I'll buy one the next day. But
yeah, lying down on transit or whatever. App developers, listen up, make a good storyboard.
I'm going to shout out Toon Boom. We do have some good and decent storyboard programs, but I'm like, Toon Boom.
Yeah.
What are you doing? No. At least not on Apple. Not on Apple. I think like you could get like a Windows tablet and probably do it, but
then you'd have to have a Windows tablet.
Yeah.
As someone who had or used an Android tablet for a time for a different project, I was like, this is hell. Why? Why? No.
I still use an Android phone, but I just like...
No, Android phones are fine. Android tablets really wish they were phones, and that's the problem. Because it's like... Or at least the one that I had was just a modified version of the Android OS, and it's like, it really just wanted to be a phone, or a smartphone rather, and it couldn't, and it was very noticeable, and I hated it.
I will say I am pretty tempted by some of those new Huawei folding things that they've got. Like they've got the phone that folds out to a tablet, but the really cool one is the laptop that has like a magnetically attached keyboard on the bottom half of the screen, and then you take it off and it folds out to like a full-sized iPad. It's pretty crazy. I don't know if I would be able to deal with the seam in the middle of the screen, which is why I have not.
That's why I haven't gotten any of those. I was very tempted when I got a new phone. I was very tempted to get a flip phone, like a smartphone flip phone, because I just like the idea of doing the whoosh, hi. I just wanted that, only to do all of my research and find that because people keep doing that, the phone's only lasted for like a year and a half, and I'm the type of person that buys a smartphone, uses it until it dies like 6 or 7 years later. So getting a phone that is predisposed to literally fall apart within 2 years is not good for me.
I mean, that's the issue with new technology. And you would hope that you wouldn't get that out of Chinese manufacturers because, you know, they're building for an economy that shouldn't need forced obsolescence. But every time you come in with something like that, it like adds a new point of failure that conveniently brings your thing in just over the warranty.
Steve, on the point of storyboarding, how does that affect your anime watching behavior? Like, I know it's like your job. So when you watch an anime, how does it feel to like, are you able to disconnect it from work brain? Because like I have a hard time watching anime sometimes just from like a marketing brain perspective.
I know sometimes it's for better and sometimes it's for worse because I know I could be watching something. I could be like that wasn't a good choice. They like that. This sequence doesn't line up with this sequence in terms of like staging. Oftentimes, at least like, I don't know, I don't get to watch as much anime as I'd like to. So I don't have too many complaints on the anime side, but in terms of it, but in, you know, the positive side, it really just opens up to much more admiration for the crafts, especially with, with Hosoda, who we'll talk about with later, just choice of just staging shot compositions, like that's kind of really, my mind has kind of just opened up to way more to like catching all these choices and appreciating it. Cause I think it's hard for me to go into like any piece of media these days and not kind of think about all the production that went into it. But that's part of what I enjoy about it too. I don't necessarily like things just on a surface level as much anymore, as I just enjoy the whole thing, the entire process of the sausage getting made. There could be like a movie or a show that I'm like, this wasn't the best thing, but I really like some of the choices they made, and that kind of puts it up there for me, even if it's just like, not that great of a piece of media.
I love it.
I think it's about time we move on to our question of the week, which this week comes to us from David Usim, who asks, how many episodes does it take for you to judge the quality of an anime before finishing it, if you finish it?
Depends on the show.
I mean...
Some have like the strongest first episode ever where you're like, this is something. This is a thing. This is going to be great. This.
Yeah, to me...
Yeah.
And that you were going to say. And then...
No, and then you have the other shows that are just like, okay, this is okay. And then you watch a few more episodes and you're like, still a little okay. And then you get to like episode 10 and you're like, why am I still watching this? I don't I think what? No, bye. And
it also depends on the length of the season, I would say. Especially these days.
Yeah. Sometimes they need some time to cook. For me, it's like one episode. Pretty much always. Because like the thing is, if I want to keep watching it, I will. And then if it falls off after that, it's you know, that happens and then I'll stop. Right. But like, I feel like 9 times out of 10, you can tell if a show's going to be good. Right. And then it's,
or at least good for you. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like, it becomes a question of, you know, is it going to get better? Because that's a possibility, right? Like sometimes you get... yeah, like sometimes you get 3 or 4 episodes in, you get to the end of the first arc. I mean, that was more relevant when it was like when shonen battle stuff dominated, and like now it's light novels, and you're really by episode 2, you probably know where the story arc is going. But like it, you know, it used to be like those early chapters of the manga where the manga's figuring it out, and then it like finds its pace, and you're like, okay. That's why the 3 episode test existed. But like, you know, these days with light novel adaptations, you're kind of getting the complete, like a complete idea of what it's going to be from chapter 1. And I mean, very rarely are you surprised.
I mean, there is a number of shows that it's just like the title, the key art, the description. I'm good.
yeah. You don't even have to watch the show. Yeah. Like, I mean,
the PV gets me there 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
There maybe 1 out of 10 shows I'll be surprised that I like something that I didn't like from the key art. I mean, from the PV. And yeah, the key art gets me there 8 out of 10 times at the very least.
Yeah, I kind of glad. I was almost feel bad because I'm usually one of those guys where I might check some out just purely on aesthetic, and hasn't always, like, it's bit me in the ass sometimes. But I will say, I'm like, yeah, I think that's what it just takes, because I'm also like, I'm an art guy, so I'm like, oh, does it have like a great style, decent premise? I'm in. In terms of like pinpointing like an exact episode number, I don't have a good answer for that, because I think of like, I immediately thought of 2 shows where it was kind of like the complete opposite. I remember Wonder Egg Priority. Wonder Egg Priority, was that what it was?
Yeah.
Incredible start. Incredible start. Shit the bed. And I
did not stick the landing.
Meanwhile, Steins Gate was a show that I just watched on a whim.
Yeah.
And I was getting like 10 episodes in. I'm like, I think I made a mistake. I don't think this show is for me. Then hit episode 13, completely 180'd. And then I was like, this is amazing.
Yep.
Glad I didn't give this up. So that's why I kind of think, at least with like, depending how long a show is, like if it's like a 26 episode like series, get like halfway through. And that's still a lot of TV.
It is.
I think for like a 12 episode season, I think by episode 6 or 7, it should be like, is this going well, or are the cracks starting to show?
Yeah, if you haven't dropped it by that in a 12 or 13, you're already halfway through. You might as well finish it off. Because if you've liked it enough, to get to that point, it's probably, unless they absolutely shit the bed like Wonder Egg, you're gonna make it through. It's gonna be fine. You're gonna enjoy it.
I mean, even then, I'm like, I'm glad I finished Wonder Egg. It was, you know, like
I'm glad I didn't.
I'm not glad they finished it, but like it was an instructive experience for me, you know, like I learned things from how it fell apart. But like, yeah, you know, sometimes a lot of the time, it's like 3 words into the title. I was banished. Okay, I'm out.
Says the guy who watched more of that stuff than any of all the rest of us combined.
You're right. I for work.
It's difficult because it would be like, you wouldn't watch like 2/3 of a movie and be like, yeah, I know what I think about it.
I mean, I know people who walk out of theaters like 2/3 of the way through a movie, and I'm like,
I've never walked out of a movie. Like I haven't. And there's some shows, and there was an anime in the last year where I was like, I don't like where this is going, but I'm going to see it through just so I could have a definitive opinion. And that was Gundam G-Quacks. And I I'm glad that I watched all of it so I could have like a definitive opinion. And my opinion was I did not like it. I did not like where it went. And I feel, and like, I don't feel like, oh, I wasted my time. Like, hey, at least I took in an entire piece of media so I could have, so there's no doubt, no room left for doubt. So I think sometimes you just gotta, or if it's just not for you, then just be like, yeah, it wasn't for me.
I mean, for me to quit watching a movie partway through, it has to be pretty like unpleasant or just like at the wrong time, wrong place in my life. I've never walked out of a theater, but like Talented Mr. Ripley, I knew where that movie was going by the halfway point. I'm like, I do not want to sit here for all these, Matt Damon's lies to be exposed, right? Like, I just don't want that.
I felt pretty confident walking out like 20 minutes before the end of Tron Ares that I knew literally everything that was going to happen in that movie.
And yet,
yes.
You liked it enough that you keep bringing it up.
I like the vibe.
That's just what Tron is. Tron is purely vibes and aesthetics.
I had a good time with my good friend Miles watching a movie, but it could have been literally any movie.
As long as we're holding hands and humming along to the theme song, it's a good time.
I've never walked out of a theater, but I've stopped watching a movie at home, and I think that's totally justified. Like I couldn't finish Bullet Train. I was like, this is nah.
If we weren't.
Nah, wasn't for me, pal.
If we weren't watching Momotaro for the podcast, I would have dropped out of it like 20 minutes in.
That's fair.
I mean, I did walk away, and then I had to come back, and then I walked away again, and then I came back.
That's rough when you have to take breaks.
It is one of those movies.
Rough.
I watched it in 3 chunks myself, I think, for this time around.
I mean, I'll be honest, that was my experience watching Baron Matsuri, but that's just because I was having a bad day. When I watched it. That's
a mood could really affect your opinion on enjoyment of a film.
It won me over by the end. But I mean, do you guys just want to get into the main quest?
Let's do
Absolutely.
it.
For our main quest today, if you did not figure it out based on the title and the fact that we have a guest from the One Piece podcast, we are talking about One Piece Movie 6, Baron Omatsuri and the Secret Island. I'm introducing this for the simple fact as to give the reminder that I don't watch One Piece, not because I hate it, but because I just don't have the freaking time. I've not really attempted to watch One Piece. I've attempted to read it several times. Always ended up bouncing off for one reason or another, or found some other thing that ended up taking up my time, and I ended up not coming back to it. And so when Miles was like, hey, we should do all of the Hosoda stuff, there I was thinking that we were going to jump from freaking our war game and go straight to The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. No, we have to sit and talk about One Piece Movie 6. And I have sat down and I have now watched One Piece Movie 6. It is the most One Piece I have ever watched in a single sitting. And yeah,
Tristan, you should just watch the live action.
I disagree.
Nah. I mean, if the time concern is the biggest concern,
it is.
I think season 1 will get you like 70% of the way to appreciating what's good about East Blue.
But here's the thing. I'm already like most of the way to like appreciating a lot of things, because you just be in the anime community for as long as I have, and you just learn so much of everything through osmosis. Like I knew all these characters.
Well,
I knew all of them.
It's like literally the best introduction of a shonen cast in one of these spin-off movies I've ever seen. Within the first 3 minutes, you know every single character in this movie.
Yeah,
so well.
And their main motivations, because it's like, hey, why do we want to go to this stupid island? And then they list individual reasons why each and every one of them want to go to the stupid island. And it's like, okay, we now know these people, and then we get it. We understand all of them.
Yeah, no, it is very economical storytelling. I think we're finding Hosoda's pretty good at that between this and the start of our war game.
I mean, our war game was a little weird because, well, like we watched it comes the Digimon movie. Show. And well, it not only comes off of a whole show, so they don't really do a lot of reintroductions. Like they also didn't need to, because like our war game, it's like, okay, well, we really just need to spend time with Tai and Izzy. and everybody else kind of gets like a little brief mention. It's not like they had the entire Digidestin team there. Like this film has all of the Straw Hats there. It's very, very different from that perspective. So I think he had a bit of an easier time with Digimon than this.
But I mean, I in terms of economy of storytelling, what I mean is like, you know, the way that our war game sets up.
Our war game is also a lot shorter than this.
Yeah,
this was a full
is.
like hour and a half. Our war game is like half the time.
Yeah, but I'm talking like the way it sets up Tai having that email to Sora to apologize, and like also it's like, oh, all these crazy glitches are going on. Like that's it. Hosoda's just good of like at like getting into stuff, or he was. I have not seen the recent
I remember
things.
being 10 years old and emailing my crush, apologizing to her.
Yeah.
Tristan, what's this movie about?
This is, well, I don't know how it fits into the rest of the One Piece canon, but this is about...
Don't think about it. Don't think about it.
Okay, so...
You ever see a Dragon Ball Z movie? Don't think about it.
Yes.
It's about a beach that makes you young.
God, it is about a crew of a bunch of different wacky pirates with all the different weird personalities that have come together as a crew, and they get like a flyer or a notice about some cool island that's nearby that may have some spas, may have some good food, may have some relaxing times, and they decide, hey, we're gonna go there, mostly because there was a challenge that only the most pirates of pirates of pirates of pirates would go there. And so, you know, our main character Luffy's like, okay, well, that's us, so we're going, let's do this. And then they go to the island, and then they find out it's not really what was advertised, but you're here now, so let's catch a giant fish. And,
you know, that whole intro really made me think Luffy would definitely fall for pyramid schemes. He would fall for every single pyramid scheme.
Okay, so I don't know him very well, but the feeling that I got is that he absolutely would be in the room, and he might start it. He feels like the type of person that would like get bored after like maybe the first hour of actually attempting to do it and then walk away.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, Usopp would start, but that's the thing.
Yeah. No, yeah. Nami would start.
Oh yeah. This is crazy. I think this was a fan question we got. I'm pretty sure someone asked us this question years ago on the podcast. Was who would fall for which Straw Hat would fall for a pyramid scheme?
But
and Luffy and Chopper, I think, are the top two.
Yeah. So Luffy, you're right. He would get bored and stop, but before that, he would buy 10,000 knives. He just wouldn't have like the follow through to sell them.
No, he would use them. That's the thing. Like Luffy would use the merchandise.
Zoro would not make it to the meeting room. Zoro would like end up at a different a different conference room selling timeshares in the same hotel.
If Zoro had to go door to door, he would just keep ending up at the same house because he would be getting lost. You know?
Yeah. Sanji feels like the type of guy that would identify it immediately, but just not warn anyone and be like, let's see how this is going to go.
I think Robin would conspire within to take it over, you know?
No, like actually, Sanji would like look at the knives and be like, these are shit, and walk out on the spot.
But then you would just need a woman to be like, oh, if you had these knives, you'd be like,
yeah, and then he'd be
so
like,
cool. And like, I'll do it. I'll take 10.
Yeah. Actually, like, especially, so I recently watched the first episode of season 2 of the One Piece live action, right? Geoff watched the whole season already. What amazes me compared to even the One Piece films that Oda himself wrote, the characterization of the Straw Hats in this movie is insane. Like, I think this is like the best depiction of Luffy in a movie or in anything that's not the One Piece manga.
Bar none. I mean, maybe this is a conversation for later, but I think some people's biggest criticisms of this movie is like, oh, it's a bit out of character. You know, Luffy wouldn't do this. The Straw Hats wouldn't do this.
I mean, I haven't read or watched One Piece, but from my knowledge of all of these characters, I'm like, yeah, this seems... This lines up with everything I know about One Piece, which is not much, to be fair, but I have a generalized enough like vibes based on what all of these characters are like and what they do. And I'm like, oh yeah. No, they're all here for their nakama. Okay, yeah, I got it. I understand now. I get it.
There is one thing that Usopp says to Nami that I feel like he would never say under normal circumstances, but it's the island messing with them, so it makes sense. But like that's, you know, there's like a surreal supernatural element to this.
And you're saying it's when Usopp says like he says to Nami like, oh, it's like betrayal's like usually your thing anyway, which was something Nami had, like, we got over that hump a long time ago. So
and I don't think like Usopp is a very empathetic guy who would never like
pull
dig
that
at
up.
A friend like that. I really feel, but
also at that moment in the film, it was very much she was like in his face about things that were kind of beyond his control because he didn't know what the freaking box was going to do and fly him up in the middle of nowhere. So the fact that he even got back is pretty amazing. And then she just gets in his face and it's just like, yeah, he clapped back.
I still don't think that he
would do that.
Get that personal, like it, but it's the island messing with them. Like I understand that.
And even if you don't believe it's the island messing with them, you got to think of what story is trying to be told here, and you got to roll with it because
that there's got to be some friction between them.
Yeah, it's the whole point of the movie.
Like I will say, when I started the movie, like for the first big chunk of it, because I had to keep like pausing it and doing other stuff, and I mean it. You know, that was mostly just I was exhausted after finishing my review of the One Piece live action TV show, and also just going through some personal stuff. But I felt early on I was like, this is just the Davy back fight with less justification for why they're doing it. Like literally.
That's so funny because when I watched this, I'm like, oh, this is what I wish the Davy back fight would have been.
You know, I watched this and thought this is probably what people wish the Davy back fight was. I love Davy back fight.
Davy back fight is peak. Davy back. I mean, it's Wacky Races, right? It is like the most cartoon influenced part of One Piece. Davy back fight is peak. I'm glad we can agree on that, Steve.
I will say you bring that up. And you're not wrong, but, you know, in me bringing up Dragon Ball Z movies earlier, it's Toei kind of taking something like something prevalent in the series up around that point and then doing their own version. Because like the first two movies, those are kind of just mirror images of East Blue villains. The villain from movie 3, that's Wapol. Movie 4, that's Crocodile. Movie 5 is a piece of shit. And now we have movie 6, and that's just Davy backfight.
I think it gets to somewhere really interesting and different by the end, right? You know, but like the first half, I was like, this is, you know, just a Davy backfight, but like they got invited to a timeshare meeting, and there was like a flyer that's like, if you're a real pirate, you'll come to this timeshare meeting. And Luffy's like, I'm a real pirate. We're going. And like,
it's like the Aspen episode of South Park, and they just keep walking into another room, and it's another board meeting.
And you got to roll with it, right? To get the story going and get to the story they want to tell. But I did really feel like, you know, why are we here? Why are they putting up with this?
Really?
Like
the first half hour, are you not just delighted the entire time? Because
are you not entertained
by the animation and the characters? Sure, but like the like, you know, like and you know the goldfish outfits thing or whatever.
Oh, but some of the best fits.
The fits are great. But I feel like after the goldfish thing, you know, maybe there's a bit of a sunk cost fallacy going on there, but like when they're like, okay, you've completed the ordeal of hell, you have to do another ordeal of hell now just because you won and we're sore losers. I feel like that's the time that they just duck and be like, we have no actual reason to be here. Let's just get on our boat and go.
I would have appreciated at least one person to ask the question of, all right, how many ordeals are there before we even consider continuing on, because we already think that you're full of shit. So but we don't want to then complete this next ordeal only for you to be like, but there is a third ordeal or some bullcrap like that.
Like, it's obviously a trap, and like Luffy's like, we'll get through a trap. It just, there's nothing keeping them there. That was my hang up at the start, is there's like no actual reason to be on this island.
Except for the fact that the plot demands it. Yes.
Vibes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And
the small, minuscule amount of hope that everything that they were promised is actually there, if only they just do one more challenge.
They could have tied in, because this borrows, I feel like this is also borrowing from like Early Water 7 too. Like maybe they could have like done something where the Mary kind of breaks down in some way and it needs time to get repaired. So it's like, well, we got to stick around anyway while our ship is getting fixed. So, or something. I mean, like usually in One Piece, one of the things I really like about each One Piece arc is like, you get a very strong character motivation for why they're there, like obviously through the whole Alabasta saga, like once Vivi's on the crew, it's just like nonstop. We got to get to Alabasta, and everything's a step in that journey, and every stop along the way is justified by like, we got to update our log pose, right? But like, the Davy back fight, for instance, that's like a matter of pride for pirates, right? Like you don't back down from that kind of challenge. Skypiea, there's an island in the sky. I want to go there. Like there's something drawing Luffy there, and like here it's like a flyer goaded him into it, and just I don't know. I feel like, Mr. You don't get to tell us where our journey goes next is not the kind of guy who,
except when you do.
well, no, like he's, one of my favorite moments that I was recently reminded of in the live action from Alabasta is like, here's an easy out that'll get you right to Alabasta if you just, follow this eternal pose. And he's like, nah, you don't tell me where my ship goes. That's like a very strong Luffy thing. So to me, I just feel like the justification to get into the story is pretty weak, but that's a minor complaint in the grand scheme of things. It was just something that was running at the back of my mind. I was like, okay, so we're just doing some shit. And sure, it's delightful shit, right? Like, don't get me wrong. It is beautiful. Like they're doing amazing things with the Straw Hat character designs, amazing animation. Steve, as a layout artist, you were probably like really appreciating, like I was appreciating all of the really clever stuff they do with the backgrounds, the way it kind of like unfolds.
Mm-hmm. It's almost like a stage set sometimes, where things just kind of just slide like on and off screen.
Sometimes it's a literal stage.
Yeah, which is like a kind of an early Hosoda-ism, and like you see kind of the evolutionary step between our war game, this and Summer Wars, and like the way those physics worked. But like, I don't know, like I was appreciating it from an animation perspective. I was just like at the back of my mind constantly like, why are we here? Why are they putting up?
Well, I think it's
why don't they just leave?
And at this point where where One Piece has come story wise, where every adventure at this point is tied into like a greater goal of some sort of battle or systematic uprising. This is still One Piece when Luffy's just like, I want to do this because it's fun.
yeah.
Which is, you kind of forget, like, that's how it kind of used to be paced, where it's like the previous arc didn't necessarily set up the following one. It was still like just a, let's see where the adventure takes us. So I could see Luffy kind of being a little more like, well, yeah, what else are we going to do?
I feel like every other time that Luffy has been like, what else are we going to do? It's been a more interesting hook than like, ooh, come to a resort for a weekend. It's like, we got islands in the sky. I mean, that's kind of like the prototypical example. Every other one, you know, they like land on an island and meet somebody and they're like, ooh, we got, you know, I got a new friend. We're gonna figure out what this friend's deal is for a couple days and maybe move on. I don't know. But this is just like, come to a resort. And I just, like, even Sabouti, I feel, has a much more compelling vacation proposition than Spa Days or whatever to the Straw Hats. You know, you got the whole theme park there. I just, but it's a nitpick. It is a nitpick, and we've been on this nitpick.
I mean,
so
it's a nitpick, but it's also like the fundamental issue with most of these non-canon movies, like all the way up through Strong World. So it's not an unfair one. I mean, why does Goku care so much about any of the, you know, 15 villains he fights in those movies? It's usually just about as thin. The Lord Slug is sick as hell.
I like it at least.
Why though?
Like, yet with Goku, I feel
for
like
no good reason.
Yeah,
that's
for
the thing.
I mean, that ties back to what I said. Like, hey, sometimes you just like things based off aesthetics. So if you like Lord Slug, okay.
Like with Luke, I feel like it's more of a problem for the One Piece movies than with Goku, because with Goku, there's a really strong guy over there who wants to fight is kind of like all Goku really needs to get into something, right? You know,
I mean, Luffy too, to a lesser degree.
No, but Luffy is like, his thing is, I want to see something new, right? That's his, I want to see something I've never seen before. And the fact that every One Piece movie is literally just a rehash of the arc that we just went through in the show is maybe more of a plot hole there, if you want to use annoying internet terms for it.
I mean, I would say that I would rather that than a recap film.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, except episode of Tony Chopper is really good.
Yeah,
episode of Tony Chopper. Is
but all the other recap films are a little
one good recap film, but I would still say that I think the original anime direction is much better.
Yeah, that's the thing. I would never watch it again over just rewatching Drum Island.
No, especially because Drum is an easy watch.
And I mean, now you've got the live action version of Drum Island, which like, if there is one perfect thing about live action One Piece, it's Chopper's backstory episode.
Well, he did say shit a lot.
I really like, I feel like that's a really good way of making up for weird little guyifying, Muppetifying Chopper's design, going for like the cutesy big head kawaii design of Chopper from
he looks
the beginning.
Like Paddington Bear.
I would say cutesy is arguable.
He's really cute in the new one.
I wouldn't say he's hideous.
Well, the internet thinks he's adorable. But like I think him saying shit a lot kind of is a good way of bringing in a little bit of that texture of when he was like just this weird little gremlin.
I think it's just the Western world just not being able to commit to things being cute. It's why Bowser Jr. is voiced by the fucking guy from Oppenheimer when he should sound like a child.
And Detective Pikachu is Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, it's like I believe that there's this fear from like from people in the Western world. It's like, you can't have something be too cute, then everyone's gonna think this is for children and no one's gonna watch it.
Oh, well, Oda has a quote about that, actually. He has a quote like, they wanted to, lean into the real bone structure of a reindeer and a bunch of other stuff in this design, and he was like, no, you just have to make it cute. And he literally says Westerners have to like make anything that's cute a little bit ironic.
Yeah.
And I just wanted Chopper to be as cute as possible. And I don't think him saying shit makes him less cute. I think it makes him more cute, but a little bit weird. And And that's because I miss
Chubby Chopper.
OG Chubby Chopper.
Yeah, I think we all do.
You know, he's such
Fat Pikachu, Fat Chopper. These are the best versions of these characters.
Exactly, right? And you know, cute
Garfield's on Ozempic these days.
it's true, which is crazy. back to Baron Matsuri.
On a note you said about Baron Matsuri, about the stage play and like some of the visuals, you can tell Hosoda was watching the heck out of his peers here. There was a lot of Utena in here in that opening 30 minutes. There was a lot of Utena inspiration. And then the next section when Hosoda's like, how do I make this seem weird? He's like pulling all these Oshi things. Like when Chopper's wandering around the castle by himself, it's just straight out of Beautiful Dreamer. And like the music even kind of gets a little Kenji Kawai coded. By the way, this is the best soundtrack of an anime movie we've talked about in months.
Oh, it's one of the best One Piece soundtracks. I will say
best soundtrack. Soundtrack is very good. I kept getting pulled out by the sound effects.
Oh, you're just a hater, man. You don't like.
I am an absolute hater.
Woo!
How many like that freaking bow and arrow shot sound is the same waveform 50 bajillion times over the course of an hour and a half. They jump away and they use the same stock sound effect that Sunrise uses for Gundam moving around. And I'm like, what the hell?
Sorry, you don't like good sound design.
Sorry, I don't like good sound design.
I know like the One Piece anime is received, according to people on the internet, has like terrible sound design and needs a serious update. I do think, they should design some more sound effects. I do think, especially with like Gear 5th Luffy these days, I'm like, I think you really need to. I think like you have like your 5 what you think are good Looney Tunes sound effects, and I think you need more.
Yeah, I think they need more, and I think they need to mix them better. That's the other. I really think the big complaint about like as much as people complain about the sound effects, the real issue with every clip I've seen of modern One Piece, because I'm a manga reader, I don't keep up with the anime, is they're loud. And like really, really, they just don't feel like
they can't be subtle
part of the soundscape in the same way.
Weren't you just defending Tatsunoko Productions and talking about how important it is?
I love Tatsunoko Productions. I also think that Tatsunoko is a different era, right? Like we've got,
but it doesn't have to be
modern digital sound mixing, and like yes, you can go back to that. But
I mean, this is like why didn't like Funimation Dragon Ball Z, right? Like, because I'm like, where's all the joyous like, woo, whoop, all that fun stuff in the original Dragon Ball? Where
are you talking about? The Ocean Dub era punch ups.
Now it's gonna be all like guitar, like.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. The Ocean Dub had some really good punch ups to the sound effects. But that's if we're talking about like drawing from their peers though. Because one thing that like really stuck out to me about like the second ordeal from hell, I was like, Hosoda absolutely watched Pokemon Heroes.
Yes.
Like the whole like boat chase thing. I was like, that's straight out of the Latios movie. That is 100%.
Does the timing work on that actually? I think it might.
It's a 2002. I just looked it up. It's a 2002 movie.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I mean,
I was like, one of these looked at the other one's notes, right? I
to be honest, when I was seeing all the boat race, I was thinking about Ghost in the Shell Innocence a little bit.
That too, yeah.
And like a little bit of Metropolis too. Like I just kept seeing like all these different like pieces of inspiration that were very visceral to me because they're some of my most iconic moments in anime. And the funny thing is, when I was in like high school, I watched this movie so many times that I kind of think I went backwards on a lot of those inspirations, right? Because I didn't see those things until like college or later. And then like seeing them, I was like already familiar with that visual storytelling. And so it's very interesting for me to be like, yeah, Beautiful Dream was like one of my favorite movies. Oh, Yeah, maybe it's because I liked One Piece movie 6 so much as a kid.
Because Baron Omatsuri reverse incepted you.
It's like I should like Citizen Kane because I've seen so many Simpsons episodes. I've seen that whole movie by now.
Yeah, I mean, oh man, there's that one, the oh yes guy from The Simpsons who's like that guy from The Simpsons, but like he's actually a classic movie actor from like the 1960s who you know,
the stroke guy.
Yeah. The stroke guy. Yeah. But yeah, like it really feels to me like Hosoda used One Piece as kind of just like a springboard to do a little viz dev on the the flower imagery and stuff that is like an undercurrent of a lot of his work. That's kind of the intersection of Hosoda and what's his face? You know, that artist who he does flowers all the time, tried making an anime. It was terrible.
Do you realize how little that narrows it down?
Takashi Murakami. Like the smiley face flower in this movie is kind of like the exact intersection of Hosoda super flat and Murakami's print style. But like that aside, it kind of just felt like Hosoda taking this as like a playground for all of his different animation inspirations and like all of these different ideas that he like wants to explore and all of those different influences, like you said, that he kind of wants to riff on and just doing some crazy stuff with these characters. There's some really great moments of animation for all of them. I mean, especially Nico Robin, like this is one of the most compellingly animated portrayals of the character without actually being super sexy. I mean, it's sexy in like a way, but like
she doesn't have to try hard in this movie.
Yeah.
That floppy hat look is like an all time.
The sundress and the hat. My mouth was open the whole time watching this again.
Yeah,
yeah, but like there's less curves.
This is kind of like what the Straw Hats used to do before they kind of became like a peanut gallery.
Yeah,
I don't know. That might be a controversial statement, but
no,
I'm just thinking like,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Especially in the films, they kind of all just kind of stand in a line and like listen to exposition and be like, oh, I see. Meanwhile, like in this movie, you have like Robin like kind of doing kind of espionage, kind of researching. She's trying to figure out what the hell's going on in this island. Sanji's cooking.
Figuratively and literally.
And Chopper's doctoring. No, he doesn't get to do a lot of doctoring in this movie.
He's helping the children again.
Chopper just kind of wandering off like a lost child.
The Sanji cooking scene, by the way, is maybe the most memorable part of this movie to me. It's not the best, but it's just like whenever I think of this movie, the first thing I think of is like Sanji skating on butter and like, cooking giant food. And I'm like, that's such a delight.
Playing Okonomi hockey.
Damn.
When that scene is over, just the animation of Luffy's "Itadakimasu" is so perfect.
And that's too hot. For me, it's the goldfish sequence really is like one of two sequences that I just immediately think of when I think of this movie. But the first 10 minutes of this movie just
tossing the big goldfish around and everything. Yeah.
And I don't have the same nostalgia as you guys, but I feel like the scene that's gonna stick in my mind from this film the most is just that visual of Luffy standing there, and then like the whole mountain of arrows just go before it like diving into him. I'm like, yeah, okay, that was a good shot. That's a nice. Okay, that's good. I like that.
And it's actually built up to so well. So like. Again, this is like concurrent with Water 7. So one of the subplots in One Piece about Water 7 is about the crew breaking up a little bit. And this is basically the crew breaking up the movie, kind of, where it's like the whole concept of One Piece is this crew is up until this point is this crew is like untouchable. They are all lined. And then we get like Zoro and Sanji like basically kissing. They're fighting so hard. Or maybe I just imagined that. But like, this is like the best.
How much
like,
fan
Zoro's,
fiction have you been reading recently?
This is like the best Zoro Sanji like interactions we've like really ever gotten in all of One Piece, of them just hating each other in the best way possible. And like, I know it's like the whole plot of this island is it makes everyone puts everyone against each other, but it works so well with those two because they're already so primed to do that.
Yeah.
It's like it's already at a 10, so they get to the island and it's 11.
Yeah, they're always button heads. So it like the moment of them fighting and like the guy coming in with the ring to like, or is it the girl frog, the girl old lady frog who does that? Either way, the one diving in to like get the ring over their head and like Zoro pushes Sanji out of the way and into the rings. It's just such great physicality of their whole rivalry thing.
It's so much like it definitely like Hosoda deserves like a lot of credit, and the animators too, because God, like the just like the movement of characters in his films is just so believable, even when it's really exaggerated and like cartoony. It's I with the prep I did for this podcast, I rewatched The Girl Who Left Through Time, which I mistakenly thought came out before this, but actually is after this. But I said, I was like, you could put this movie on mute and you know everything that's going on, because the physicality and just
the visuals, the
staging and the tone all comes across in the animation. It's a incredible film. But someone I want to give credit to is this Masahiro Ito, who wrote the film. There's not much about this guy, and IMDb could be very wishy-washy, but if you believe it, he doesn't have too many writing credits. And like only kind of like,
is it a pseudonym?
It could be. I wouldn't be surprised, but because when people often like talk about this movie being so much darker in tone compared to what One Piece actually is, I think they always just put it on Hosoda, and I'm like, well, Hosoda didn't write it. So I'm always like, I'm very fascinated about this writer, but there's just not much about him out there.
I had a bit of trouble looking him up because he's got the same name as a voice actor, and then also the Silent Hill artist. Which makes him a little hard to search, but
unless he was the Silent Hill artist, and that's why it's so dark.
I could kind of believe that.
But that would kind of track. But his only credits I can find are a movie, like 2 movies from the 70s, and then the 1998 one episode of Iron Chef. Ever 17, the Out of Infinity video game.
He's not the main writer of Out of Seven. He's not the main writer of Ever 17.
Yeah. He's a scenario writer on that. And then
One Piece movie 7. What a drop off.
One Piece movie 7 and 8
in a year.
He did Giant Mechanical Soldier of Karakuri Castle and
woo boy.
And the Alabasta movie? You said movie 8?
Then it jumps to Oshai. I don't even actually know how to. Chaye Somalie Oshako, I think is how you're supposed to pronounce it. Which is a 2020 TV series. So I don't know if this is even the same guy. Is kind of my
that's what I wonder. And I'm like, that is.
Yeah, but 1970 to 1998, not writing anything is
no, because like I just double checked because you brought up Ever 17, and I'm just like, this name does not compute with Ever 17. IMDb is the only place that makes that connection. Nobody else makes that connection with him and that game. I mean, I also have that game somewhere around here. Yeah, over there. It's right there. It's on my camera.
Wow.
It's right there.
It's all connected.
It's all connected.
But kind of would love to know more about this guy because I think he deserves a lot of credit.
He does some really good writing
for this.
Yeah.
You know,
there's I mean, like you said, the characterization at the start, you instantly know who all of these characters are from just a couple lines.
Which is why I told Tristan that he could watch this. And when I was trying, like, my wife knew of One Piece. Like, her mom had bought her all the like One Piece art books because they liked the art when she was younger. But like, this is the One Piece thing I like made my wife watch when we were still dating. Like, I'm like, you have to at least see this, and she's like, it was okay. Yeah, she liked it.
That used to be a thing. I think it's kind of gone away, but movie 6 kind of used to be, even though I think it came with the caveats, like this isn't necessarily the most accurate representation of One Piece. But if you're going to watch one thing that might convince you, it's this movie. And also, I feel like there's not like a millennial weeb in my industry that doesn't know this movie.
Interesting.
I think, or just like Hosoda. Hosoda is like
Hosoda makes sense.
We're still regarded very highly.
I mean, prior to this week, I knew of this movie, but I'd never seen it.
I hadn't seen it, but I knew of it. Yeah,
really.
I knew it was
One Piece movie. It was One Piece movie 6. I was just like, yes, I'm gonna jump into One Piece movie 6.
Yeah.
But there'd be people like, oh, I don't watch One Piece, but I've seen movie 6 because they're Hosoda fans.
I you know, even as a Hosoda fan, I was like, oh, you know, I'll get to it when I get into One Piece, and then I didn't, and then I did get into One Piece, but I forgot about it, and like, I wasn't on my Hosoda kick then. So prior to this, the only One Piece movies I'd seen are Film Red. Film like Strong
Gold?
World, maybe I can't. Maybe Film Gold,
Strong World, Film Z,
the
Gold, Stampede.
Yeah, a few of them. I'd seen a few of them. I don't remember which ones, and they kind of all blend together. If I'm being perfectly honest, like
they do to Oda too. It's fine.
I thought maybe this would be a question to bring up, like, or just a topic to bring up later. But bringing up those movies, I'm going to shoot my shot now because now there's a debate. Because there's people I know that'll say this is the best One Piece movie, and then there's other people that say, but it's not indicative of One Piece. It's tonally different than One Piece. It can't be the best One Piece movie. Like Oda wrote Strong World, and like he's helped like conceptualize like these other movies. Because I call like since 2009 we're in the post Oda's involved with the movies now era. Not necessarily all of them to the extent of Strong World, but definitely you get a lot more sense of his style of writing in them.
Yeah, but so many of them are just like parades of like, here, now we're gonna have like at the end of Stampede, the last half hour of Stampede is just, we're gonna show every character punching the bad guy, and it's so sick, but it sucks.
But that's a problem with, I think that to be fair, like I haven't seen every like TV series that gets a movie, but I feel like I don't know. I saw the 4D Universal JJK show to know enough to be like, I think that's just indicative of the industry now, where it's just like, yeah, just now it's like these movies are just, well, then there's a giant monster and 10 characters fight it. And I'm so
that is literally every My Hero Academia movie.
That is almost every movie
maybe
in general. Like I remember when I watched the second, or I can't remember the number, the Abrams Star Trek films. The second or third one ends with the Enterprise crashing into San Francisco. And when they asked the writer, why did the Enterprise crash into San Francisco? He's like, we needed to do something, so we crashed the Enterprise into San Francisco. And I'm just like, this is so stupid. You don't need to do that.
I think it just kind of just washes over me at this point now. And like this movie, it's like as soon as this flower gets destroyed, Luffy just decks Omatsuri, which is is also iconic. It might be one of the most satisfying final hits on a villain you'll see in any piece of media. And then it was so good that the One Piece anime just had to try and replicate it since in other ways. But I think the original still takes the cake. But it's not even
like, I feel like the Charlos punch really.
Yeah. Oh, the Charlos punch is absolutely inspired by Hosoda, 100%. But I think if this movie was made today, the flower would turn into a giant monster and all the Straw Hats would fight it.
One at a time, and you'd get to see each of their special attacks, and they all get a moment for you to clap.
And then Sabo would be here for some reason.
And then Sabo would be there. But like, I would clap. So to be clear, I would clap every single time.
Initially,
right? But it sucks. It does suck.
I can see it in my brain. Actually, you could kind of make it work with the original concept. Like you punch, like they punch it, and then a straw hat falls out of it, and then that straw hat punches the next straw hat out of it, and so on and so forth until all of the straw hats are punched out of it. It would be cool. It would still suck.
Right? I don't want to sidetrack too much. I think, but also the beauty of this film was that Luffy relied on people he just met, but formed a bond with. Like that's also like, man, because some of these original characters of these movies are just very one note, and they take up so much screen time while the Straw Hats just have to like stand by and let these characters develop. But I feel so much for like the Captain of the Mustache Pirates. There's a few times watching this movie I get literal chills watching it, and one of them is the dad about to fire the arrow. And it's a character I can't even remember his name, but I just remember. But that character, God, he's just written so well, and just the way he's portrayed,
and just a handful of scenes like him with Chopper, earlier on, and trying to be good with his kids, and then the daughter revealing, "Oh yeah, no, I heard you the whole time. You're great though. I still love you. You're really brave, Dad."
Like I'm much happier that character got that moment than say it was Zoro doing it. It just it meant more.
I mean, they're just so well established, right? Like that, like you understand the entire family dynamic pretty much as soon as you meet them. It's like, okay, you've got this single dad, and they don't even like really like a hackier writer would have really like gone in on like, oh, the mom died and all of this, but like literally like all you get to like convey that is he's got the ring around his neck, right?
Yes.
And it's like really precious to him, and like you understand that this is what Baron Matsuri stole from them, right? But like it's just like this dad and the older sister butting heads while trying to keep the other two kids alive, and like you don't need a lot to understand the full family dynamic there. And it kind of puts you in the headspace of Luffy, of like, I have known these people for 5 minutes and they are already my nakama. You know, it's just it's so good.
And what's great about him and like the mustache guy is the difference between the dad and mustache is Captain of the Mustache Pirates hasn't given up hope. Like he is still fighting. The dad is like, nah, you cut your losses, you tuck your tail between your legs and run.
Well, he just wants to keep his kids alive. You know, like,
but he's more cowardly. It's not like the dad's not preparing to fight another day. He's just trying to survive. It's such a great polar opposite thing they got going on there.
I do also really love the concept of like a pirate crew that's literally just like a family on a road trip.
Sometimes a family can be a pirate crew. Yeah.
Miles, what were you going to say?
As long as they're each other's nakama.
Oh, there was this moment, and I've seen this film probably 5 or 6 times before. It's honestly one of my favorite pieces of One Piece media there is. Even though, like, you know, the whole like dark, like in One Piece at this point in time, no one had ever died, right? And this movie makes you feel like characters are going to die. Like you believe it in your soul that like, oh, someone's gonna be fucking dead in 20 minutes. But there's this one moment with the toothbrush pirate guy. With like he's got a little Hitler stash, and then he's like, "By the way, we've got a special greeting."
I mean, if you're gonna be the mustache pirates, come on! Did you have to choose the worst possible mustache in the world?
But when he's like, "We've got a special greeting," and he pulls his arms up, and I'm like, "Don't do it! Don't do it!"
Yeah. Oh, I guess this movie is like, then this movie really would be dark.
My brain also went there. That's the thing. Like the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh my god! Oh, okay, all right, we're good. I think
that's one major criticism I have is like, come on, I think you guys could have just chose a different mustache." Sorry, before I forget, because I want to bring it back, because maybe the conversation is like whether or not this can be deemed the best One Piece movie. And I do like, you know, Strong World and everything that's come past it. I would say arguably the best film to come out, you know, since like Oda was more involved was Film Z. Film Gold's a personal favorite, but I will acknowledge its problems. But I think, sorry, I'm tying it. Miles was brought something up that inspired this. it's with the villains too. It's like, or just the situation Straw Hat's in. I never feel like, oh, this could be it for the Straw Hats. Like, and you should damn well know, like, well, it's just a movie. Of course, the Straw Hats are going to be alive at the end of this, but it does feel bleak in this movie. They do such a convincing job where it's like, oh, I don't know how Luffy's going to punch his way out of this one.
When Zoro's about to get like absorbed into the flower at the end, and Luffy's like all pinned down, and he's like, oh, I still got my head, and he goes with his head. I'm like, it felt like so visceral and like so like violent for him, the way he just did that, and it was crazy. And even on rewatch, I'm like, damn, Luffy, you went there. Like it was that level of desperation. You only really see him like during like Marineford arc at that level.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like it really feels like he's got something to lose. And like this was before Marineford, so like Oda hadn't even written him like that yet.
Yeah, let's say again, Shabondi like Archipelago, when the crew gets. Well, I shouldn't say too much. We have a non-fan in the room. I don't want to spoil them, but
the issue with the One Piece movies I've seen, which isn't a lot of them, it's not most of them, but like that this one doesn't have is they. They just kind of feel like, let's do the TV show on the big screen, right? And that's fine. That's like that's clearly what the people want. Like an hour of character interaction and half an hour of the finale of Avengers Endgame again.
And a parade of cameos that don't need to be. And
but you're like, oh,
Stampede, I'll make an exception for because that's an anniversary movie. That's an anniversary movie. I'll give it a pass.
But like, One Piece film Red, it's like, oh, we're bringing Shanks back, and then it's just like, hi, I'm Shanks.
At least with that, it's tied in the plot. I'm like, why is Law and Beppo there other than just to appease fans and sell merchandise?
Because they're hot and cute.
Film Red is so it felt very bloated.
That's a whole other conversation. And I do like Film Red, but man, it pulled a lot of punches.
I liked it, but like again, it's like all of these feel like acceptable One Piece products to like kill your time for an hour and a half. But this felt like an auteur director's interpretation of these characters, which
100%
is 100%. What I want to see, right? Like I would love it if every single, not just One Piece movie, but every single shonen spin-off movie was Beautiful Dreamer.
Yeah.
Was
just get Oshii to direct every franchise ever.
No,
I don't know. Unless I want to take a nap.
Yeah. right. You and Sungwon. That would
Geoff,
be a good place to end the podcast if we'd already listed this.
Geoff, you're bringing up a great point, because one of my issues with Film Red is I think even at the time when this movie came out, it was kind of divisive because people didn't necessarily like the animation style because
they have no taste.
Yeah. I mean, it's true. They were wrong. Time has proven that they're wrong.
I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of the CG forest, but beyond that,
that's fair.
But even with like the One Piece anime has been taking so many more chances now that it's just really kind of opened its doors to more freelance animators to come in, and it's doing new things. And sometimes it feels like it's an artist like their own interpretation of the series, which I would argue sometimes works, sometimes doesn't. But I remember just like at the peak of like the Wano arc in the anime, then Film Red comes out, and it just looked, I felt like I was just watching key art move. Like I felt like I was watching the stuff that they put on merchandise. Like it was so sanitized, on model, and didn't really take any chances. Meanwhile, you have anime episodes that look like they're feature quality.
And doing
that's
something.
One of my issues with modern One Piece movies too.
Well, they're just crowd pleasers. They're all crowd, like each one of those from like Strong World on, and I think Z is amazing, and Gold is my favorite as well as your probably for the same reason, because it's just the most fun you have with One Piece in a movie theater possible.
Yes.
Yeah. But like all of the, and like even my wife liked it. She's like, that was a heist movie kind of almost, and it was great. Like, but like all those movies are just cool summer things to watch in the theater that are hype as hell, and you are like cheering either out loud or in your heart, and you're feeling great. This is cinema.
And that's what I want from like all the franchise. Like Shin-chan movies are really good at like each one being like a director's vision. Conan movies, a lot of the Conan movies do it really well.
Some of the Conan movies do it really well. Some of the Conan movies are just a product that you watch in theaters that is animated key art, right? You know, like but the Conan movies that like hit that like directorial vision are really beautiful. Like the early Digimon movies where everyone was like a different interpretation of what Digimon is. Even Hurricane Touchdown, which sucks less than
I finally, because I watched all three of those movies like on their own for like the first time last year, and boy, that was a tough one to sit through.
It's tough, but it is at least like it sucks in a very personal and interesting way. I feel like where you're like seeing a messy but complete and self-contained vision for what a film can be, and like that's what I think anime movie should be. That's what Reze is, and Infinity Castle isn't. At the end of the day,
I'm glad Digimon Series 2. I'd rather see it swing and miss, than it just be a slightly higher budgeted like anime episode with a little more time to do the animation, so it looks a little bit prettier. That was like, sorry, why is like hot take Steve come out here? But I just remember the first My Hero movie came out. People were like, the animation was so great. And I'm like, it looked just like the TV show. They even played like 10 minutes of clips in the movie. And a friend was like, well, it goes to show how high quality the show is. I'm like, well, then the movie should be better.
Yeah. I mean, like, I remember when it came out, I liked it because I just hadn't seen that many of the movies that are just like the show on the big screen, right? And I was like, I like this. I like that they took the chance to have Deku and All Might team up in a way that they can't do in the main series. Like that's a cool opportunity. But like the further I get out from it, the further just like everything about that movie slips off my brain, except for the knowledge that at some point Deku and All Might punched the same guy.
Kind of same with the second movie, and I like the second movie way more.
Bring it back, Tristan. Did this movie work for you as someone who does not like One Piece?
Yes, that's what I've been very curious about.
It was reasonably good. I would say yes. I mean, I enjoyed myself. I don't know if I would want to watch it again anytime soon. And I feel like there is, like, comparatively to like you and definitely Steve, there is a level of nostalgia I don't have for this film, because you have stories about, hey, you had to show it to your wife and things, and it's like it's very important and personal to you, and it's like I enjoyed it. It's a good film. I don't think I have that level of appreciation for it, if that makes sense.
That's fair.
Yeah.
The thing is, I'm pretty confident at the very least that it's not just my favorite, but the best like spin-off movie of a larger franchise we're going to be able to talk about on this list. Like, I think there's maybe a Pokemon movie, the I Choose You movie might like be a contender, but it's not quite as good as, not nearly as good as this.
Is that the one where Ash imagines Pikachu talk?
Yeah. I liked it a lot. Also, like Reze Arc, I think this is much better than Reze Arc, and I think Reze Arc's like hugely good movie.
Ooh.
See,
I did give Omatsuri a better rating on Letterboxd than Reze, and I love Reze.
So the reason why I brought that up is mostly because I don't have childhood nostalgia for this film. I do have childhood nostalgia for our war game, which is why, like, if you ask me which I would prefer, I would obviously put our war game over this, because it is so much more personable to me, because I had the Digimon movie when I was like 8, and I watched the shit out of the VHS. It does not work anymore. I checked. And so Steve, if you look at the very, very, very bottom of the show notes, we have the current updated list as of this week, which includes everything that we have talked about before now, because Miles wasn't here, so he didn't get to see where we put the Digimon movie. But the Digimon movie is down in slot 36.
Just below Metal Skin Panic, just above Pokemon Indigo League.
The fact that you put it below Cobra is wild to me, considering I wasn't here.
No, it's just it's a good movie, but it's only 40 minutes. It's only 40
how
minutes
long
of good
Milky
movie.
Subway, which is way higher, a bit higher on this.
But Milky Subway is more complete. I mean, like our war game is complete, but it's like really a DLC for Digimon Adventure, right?
Yeah.
As is the original 15-minute Digimon Adventure short that got fused into Digimon the movie. And that's the other reason that it's a little lower, because like we're including
Angela Anaconda,
Hurricane, we're including
Hurricane
Angela
Touchdown,
Anaconda,
which brings it down, and Angela Anaconda, which brings it back up.
So One Piece movie 6.
To me, higher than Cobra.
So one thing that's interesting about this movie that I would love to talk about more, but we don't have time, and also I don't know enough about, but I saw Daryl Surratt talk about like the fact that there are interesting analogies. If you look at Hosoda made this movie after getting fired from being director of Howl's Moving Castle.
Yeah.
And so like he's coming from that place, and a lot of those anxieties, you can read them into this movie if you'd like. Daryl Surratt of Anime World Order, great guy, great podcast. Talked about it, and I think that there's a very compelling conversation to be had there. And honestly, I think of it as at the level of Howl's Moving Castle for me personally, which I also hold in very high regard. So that's kind of the level I'd put it at.
Would Hosoda, would it have been Ghibli production, just Hosoda directing it, or
Hosoda was working at Ghibli for that time?
Yeah, there was a period of time where they were like pretty big on Miyazaki's getting older. We're gonna
trying some other folks.
I mean, they made their money every 4 years on a new movie. Eventually they looked at Miyazaki and they're like, there's going to be a point where he's going to drop dead, and we got bills to pay. So they were trying to find other directors to do things.
It just turns into Succession.
Yeah, they were trying to find other directors to do things. And sometimes that worked out. Like you had Only Yesterday, you had The Cat Returns and things like that would make it out. But then there were a lot of other things like Hosoda. Yeah. Again, there are things that made it out.
Arrietty's not a great example because that was basically directed by Miyazaki too.
I'd be damned if I didn't bring this up, because I've been to like a good handful of screenings with like Hosoda there doing Q&A. Some great, some cringe-inducing. But I think some of the most cringy questions, I don't think I was at this Q&A, but people ask him, it's like, oh, so what do you think of the opinion that you're the next Miyazaki? And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like, you clearly don't know any other anime directors. And it's like, I don't think of Hosoda and Miyazaki similar at all. I think they're two totally different things. And I didn't realize that there was this backstory with Hal, because I think it's almost an insult to Hosoda, because it's like, he's so different, it's
to be
like,
fair,
and it's a completely different approach. You just say that just because you can't name any other animation
in the
directors.
Japanese
Like,
press, starting around the time of Grill Up Through Time, they were calling him the next.
Yeah, they were, because Miyazaki was the only guy known in Western circles, right? And they were trying to
even in
for
Japan,
sure,
as an anime director, there were not anime directors known.
Which is, I mean, that's tragic.
They didn't have household names,
but also like, I feel like the only guy that really applies to is Makoto Shinkai, because he's a hack. But I'm sorry. Why are the hot takes coming out today? But like,
it's not even hot. It's reheated from this podcast at this point.
But Shinkai really was trying to be Miyazaki in a lot of ways, right? Like you can feel that, like he's got his own identity too, right? But like you feel that Miyazaki is the most influential thing on how he conceives a movie. And Hosoda is like, you've got bits of Oshii, you've got bits of actual film directors like
Ikuhara,
Hosoda has his own very, very distinct style that is nothing like Miyazaki. Absolutely, yeah. Right?
And it's not just animation, it's timing. It's just letting scenes breathe.
The way his
humor.
Also, I think the way backgrounds and characters interact, like his what we were talking about with like the theatrical staging and stuff. It's different from the Miyazaki style of background as almost a set, right? And like you feel a bit of that influence, like a film set. You know what I mean when I say that. But like you feel a little bit of Miyazaki influence, but it's a lot of different things. And I mean, you could probably speak to this more than I could, Steve, because you are actually an animation professional.
I think I'm a hack too. I just I stumbled my way into, I failed upwards into this industry, but this came to mind too. I'd be damned if I forgot to mention this too. It's Hosoda directed an episode of One Piece that I also watched ahead of watching this movie. And you would think like, oh, what's the TV anime? So like, how much is it going to feel like a Hosoda movie? It feels like a Hosoda movie.
Check that out.
It doesn't necessarily have the same look 100%, but episode 199, it's kind of like right around the start of a filler arc, but it's a damn good episode of TV. I got to put that out there. People might not know, like, please watch that episode.
I find it really interesting how like films used to be like the space for like auteur animators to like put their stamp on a property, and now it's just like TV anime productions have gotten so messy that like or so rushed and stuff that you just like end up handing off an episode to a storyboard key animator team, and they end up putting their own stamp on that episode of the show. Like with One Piece, at least, like One Piece now is like, I mean, I wouldn't call it messy's the wrong word, right? Like they've built it to accommodate that, right?
To accommodate a wide variety of artists.
And like, that's also the approach that MAPPA takes with Jujutsu Kaisen, for instance, that I think really works, is like each episode is kind of like, very auteur, very cinematic. But like, I just wish we'd get more films like this, where.
Yeah. I think the problem is you have to make a film that's just going to appeal to like everybody that could possibly like this property. And if they rolled this out, I think you would have so many people kind of, you would get a freaking, I don't know, you'd get like a Rise of Skywalker reaction, I think.
We kind of did in the online community.
Last Jedi reaction.
It was super divisive at the time in the One Piece community, and also in both Japan and in the States. And also, this has still never had a US release. I had to buy the UK import when I wanted to own it, which is crazy.
That's like another thing I forgot to bring. Like, we've been pining for this to get official release for so long, and I've given up on that. Like, I don't think it's ever going to happen. These movies are too old. Like, it felt like the time was when Funimation, had One Piece, and then they had all these Hosoda movies.
When they literally talked to anyone that they knew and was like, hey, by the way, One Piece film Red, you going to watch it? Because there was a time that was they pushed that movie so freaking hard.
You're welcome.
And it was before the One Piece bubble really blew up here. I'm talking like 2010.
When
Summer Wars? When they got they were licensing all the Hosoda movies, and it's like, well, you have One Piece. Now's the time. But One Piece just wasn't even like Film Red, like that was still like One Piece was a little more popular, but now you got to imagine 2010.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to happen. It didn't have that buzz. And I think the sun is set on that opportunity. I think that was the golden opportunity.
I feel like they could bring it out now and like now and have a theatrical run of this and do pretty well.
They need to dub those movies. I think they could just do what the UK did and just roll out.
No, it would have to be dubbed.
Blu-rays,
but this.
No. These deserve the full treatment.
Yeah, like you guys were speaking to like Last Jedi, and I mean we're still in the period where like that is such a divisive and like by some people deeply hated movie. But like I think if you put it next to the safe marketable products that are Rise of Skywalker and Force Awakens, right? Like it stands out so much more. And I think, you know, when people are looking back on that period of Star Wars in 10 years, that's going to be the only one that anybody gives a crap about, except for maybe Rogue One.
Rogue One's reputation both got better and worse also because of its prequel.
Yeah.
It's now everyone knows it as the bad series finale.
Yeah, that's true.
Andor.
Yeah, like Andor is so much better, but like
I don't want to go down that Star Wars rabbit hole, but I do agree with you. But I think it's one of those situations like, yeah, you let a director kind of really kind of like take a property and do something interesting with it, and it's just gonna it's gonna be divisive. And Miles, like, thank you for bringing me back to 2005. And remember, like, oh yeah, it was more divisive than I remember.
Yeah, I mean it's always going to be divisive, but I also think if you just do it enough that the audiences in general become inoculated to the idea of this isn't what the property is right now, right? Like this isn't ruining it forever. It's one person doing their take on this concept, right? And like the Western fandom of One Piece is one thing, but like I do feel like that's a little bit more accepted or normalized through how many Japanese movies in different franchises do it. You know, like, I mean, Shin-chan movies are big every year, and Shin-chan movies are all like at least interesting, not always good, right? But like they bring people out every year because it's like, okay, I like these characters. I like this idea or like the core concept of this story, and I'm interested in seeing what the new take on it is, right? And if we could just get that normalized, right? If we like, they're never going to shut up, right? But if we just stopped listening to the people complaining about The Last Jedi and just kept making more Last Jedi type Star Wars projects that are just like someone's unique vision. Star Wars Visions is actually a really good example. Nobody complained about Star Wars Visions because they were like,
because no one watched it.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
Sorry, Geoff.
What, do you expect these guys to read subtitles?
It was too good for its own sake. I know we need to get to rating. I'm going to read out 2 quick reviews from Letterboxd because I thought it was very funny when I was looking at Steve's review. The one is the only time someone other than Oda has truly understood the will of One Piece, which I think feels true to me. And then the other one that I really liked is, personally, I think this movie would be made better if there was a 15-minute long gay sex scene between Zoro and Sanji 5 stars.
I agree.
Anyway, I agree with both of those reviews. I think it should go at number 20 on our list, above Howls.
Okay, so Miles says above Howls. Geoff is just above Cobra down.
No, I said above Cobra is the threshold that I don't think it should go below.
And I wouldn't put it above at the Digimon movie, but that's me. But again, I'm also not a One Piece fan.
The thing is, I think I would love this movie just as much if not for One Piece. But the fact that I love the characters so much really f***s up me saying that. So like, this is going to be the least objective Miles you're ever going to get on the pod. Sorry. I also think it's Soda's best movie, but I haven't seen Girl Up Through Time in its entirety for complicated reasons. So we'll talk about that later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, soon-ish, hopefully. But let's I really don't know where to put it, right? Because like to me, above Howl, like
that's crazy.
That's way up there.
That is crazy to me, right? And but also like knowing the backstory, I'm like that would be poetic to do. Really stick it to that Miyazaki motherfucker.
Yeah.
By that logic, you just pull Howl down, not drag One Piece up.
How dare you? Howl's is great.
Like
if Geoff needs more time to think about it, I was just going to ask like Tristan, like what was your favorite moment from the film?
No, as I said, like when Luffy's standing there and then you had all of the arrows that were pointing up flip towards him and then dive bomb and carpet bomb his area. I was like, yeah, that is the moment that it's going to stick with me from this movie for a very long time.
And of all the Straw Hats that are in this film, is he your favorite, or is there enough?
I don't know if I have a favorite. I mean, the one that I knew about the most before coming into this was Sanji, but like, I don't know. I feel like the movie was very good at giving everyone a decently even amount of time, because like Luffy had most of the third act. You didn't get a lot of Luffy in the first two acts because everybody else was doing stuff. So yeah, I don't think I have a favorite Straw Hat just from this film alone. Not enough.
Give it time.
To me, with what I'm feeling, I feel like just above Project A-ko is probably a good place.
Is that
what
because
a compliment.
you don't want to put it above Cyberpunk?
A little bit, but
Geoff, you love A-ko.
You know,
yeah,
I do.
I'm so glad you finally watched this movie, then, dude.
I'm saying that despite having a bad time around watching it, right? You know, by the end of it, I was like I feel like this probably, if I had been on a better day, it probably would have had me in tears. You know, like if I'd been able to commit to watching it that way, it is really good. I definitely like it a lot more than Cobra. Even though I enjoy A-ko more, right? Like this gets into, preference versus taste. I think it's a better movie than A-ko structurally, animation wise, even ignoring my big complaint about I don't understand why the characters are here
don't just leave. Yeah,
putting themselves through this, but like, it's, at a certain point, you just got to accept that as. I feel like people who can't get over that kind of complaint are the worst kind of film goers.
It's a valid complaint, and I agree with you that I hate those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Both things can be true. Both things can be true.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah, to me, like, I definitely don't like it more than Edge Runners, but I want Edge Runners way higher. But A-ko, yeah, like I feel comfortable putting it above A-ko. So that's me. Tristan, you want it below Digimon, below,
generally speaking,
Pompo the Cinephile, below the Japanese Nazi movie. I understand that, Tristan. You have bad taste.
I wouldn't put it below Momotaro. What the hell are you talking about?
But you would put it below Pompo.
I would, but I think Pompo being at the bottom of the list is unfair to Pompo, unlike you.
It is.
I would put Pompo probably above... I'd put Pompo above the Digimon movie.
Ridiculous.
No, I wouldn't put it that high.
Steve, tell Sungwon they're saying this and get him to come beat them up.
No, I'd put Pompo probably like a little bit higher, above Cleopatra, maybe above Pokemon, but I think Pompo does not actually deserve to be at the absolute bottom of the freaking list right now. We need to put some things lower than that at some point. We could start today.
No.
I think Geoff's placement is actually a good compromise. It's almost exactly between where Tristan said he's willing to put it and where I would like to put it. And it's where Geoff would want to put it. So
yeah. And maybe I'll watch it again and I'll be like, damn, this is better than Howl's Moving Castle. Let's move it up. Who knows?
So 28 above A-ko, below Edge Runners.
Okay. That's where it is.
So, Steve, where can the people find you?
You could find me on the internet. I don't know, social medias. I'm usually it's my name, Steve Yurko. Mostly on Bluesky, Instagram. I do have like a website, but you can listen to me on the One Piece podcasts. I haven't been on too much lately, but I think at this point you'll probably hear me more often we release episodes, anytime there's a manga chapter, that's for sure. You can also hear me, Sungwon Cho was mentioned a bunch of times. You could hear me on his Let's Play channel,
with Steve
Plays Games. I am a co-host on there. With Steve. I am that Steve. I mentioned 4Kids Flashback. Please, I think if there's any audience that might be interested in that podcast, it's your audience.
It's a good podcast.
So go listen to that with me and Tara Sands.
Any cons you're going to be selling art at lately or soon?
Oh, I'm kind of taking it easy this year. I'm kind of waiting to hear back about a couple, but I think I'm easing off a little bit more than I ever have. So it might be a year off for me, but I'll still be at a bunch of cons. Sometimes I go with Sungwon to help him out, or sometimes I go for fun. So I can't say anything with confidence just yet, especially because I don't know when this will be out too. But I think best thing to do is just follow me online and you'll probably know where I end up.
Thank you.
Seriously though, can we move Pompo up a couple of spaces? It really doesn't need to be done there.
No, goodbye.
Bye. Review us on iTunes.
Next time on Quest for the Best, Winter 2026